There's some major NASCAR drama going on as racing veteran Kyle Petty doesn't hold back. In a recent podcast, Petty pulled back his thoughts on Bubba Wallace's controversial decision that left everyone in shock. So what did he point out this time? Stay tuned to find out. But before that, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more whereabouts on NASCAR. In the thrilling world of NASCAR, where split-second decisions can catapult drivers into triumph or heart-wrenching defeat, emotions run high, and the stakes soar to even higher levels. During a chaotic weekend at Daytona, up-and-coming racing sensation Bubba Wallace found himself at a crossroads in terms of both the strain he was under and the performance he was able to deliver. The 2311 racing driver had been competing full-time in the Cup Series for the previous 5 years, but he had never had the exciting opportunity to be in contention for the championship. However, his career may have taken a significant turn for the better after Saturday's race at Daytona. Bubba Wallace was well aware that in order to secure the final slot in the playoffs, he would need to fend off the competition from the other 16 drivers who were ready to seize the opportunity. Nevertheless, in the midst of everyone's excitement and anticipation, an unexpected voice of criticism was heard. Kyle Petty, a seasoned race car driver, voiced his scathing criticism of Wallace's choice to skip interviews both before and after the race in a podcast. The sentiment expressed by Kyle Petty is consistent with the overarching storyline of the pressure and expectations that come with participating in professional sports. During the NASCAR on NBC podcast, Nate Ryan posed a question to the panel about Wallace's behavior and brought up other instances in which he denied interviews, even after races that were extremely important. The comparison was made with other drivers, such as Chase Elliott, who were willing to communicate with the media despite the pressure they were under. According to Petty, for professional athletes to refuse interviews is unacceptable in any game. Unacceptable. Unacceptable to your fans. Unacceptable to the sport. It's just not. Ty Gibbs did the same thing. He didn't want to do an interview. And I don't know how these guys think that's acceptable in any world, because that's what you're here for. That's what you're here for. That's what they pay you the money for. You know what I mean? And that's what's stupid, saying that's why you make the big bucks, dude. You gotta handle it. Put it on his shoulders and carry it. If mentally he's that fragile, then maybe this is not the game for it. Petty evoked the composure and undivided attention to detail that athletes like Brad Keselowski displayed in contrast to Wallace's approach, which was driven by stress. According to Petty, the sport requires players to maintain their composure at all times and have the ability to perform well, despite the presence of external distractions. This makes us wonder if he has the mental toughness needed to succeed in the competitive world of NASCAR. Bubba Wallace's demeanor did a complete about-face after finding out he had qualified for the playoffs. Despite the fact that he had denied an interview before the race in order to keep his concentration, he addressed his comments to the press as well as his followers. What do you think about Kyle Petty's harsh statements? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that bell button for more updates. Denny Hamlin's star made the statement, "This achievement is on my Mount Rushmore," drawing a link between his 2 Cup wins and his most recent triumph. As he reflected on the mental and emotional toll that the race had taken on him, the scope of the situation became clear. After the race, Wallace stated, "That was the most stressed but also the most locked in I've ever been. Knowing that this place is mostly out of your control. I just tried to focus on doing things that I could do. Missing that wreck was massive. Proud to be locked into the playoffs, 2311, the 3rd year in, getting both cars in the playoffs. We've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. So proud of the effort we put in. No matter how much we set ourselves back, we know we have a kick-ass group and can bounce back from everything." Wallace let out a sigh of relief as Chris Buescher took the finishing flag, confirming Wallace's spot in the playoffs. After the race, he shared a video message on social media in which he and his wife, Amanda Carter, celebrated the win. He told his wife, "Babe, we're locked in. Playoff bound for the number 23 team. So proud of the efforts. What a stressful week it's been. What a day. Didn't have the car. I knew that from the rip, but we just needed the luck to fall our way, and it did. Honored to be part of 2023 playoffs." When the playoffs start at Darlington Raceway next weekend, Bubba Wallace and the number 23 team won't have time to rest. Off day tomorrow, and back to work on Monday. Darlington's coming up. We know what we can do there, and it's the first round, so let's get after it. Wallace will have a hard time getting past the first round of the playoffs because he has no playoff points. But he has always started to get better as the season went on. His 2 Cup Series wins have both come at this time of the season. Now that Wallace is in the top 16, he and the other drivers will go to Darlington Raceway on September 3rd for the Cookout Southern 500. It's likely that Denny Hamlin is experiencing a mixed bag of emotions right now. On the other hand, his contract status with Joe Gibbs Racing, his team, 23XI's Racing Alliance deal with Joe Gibbs Racing, and 23XI's contract with Toyota are all due to be extended. On the other side, both of his drivers, Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, as well as he himself, have qualified for the playoffs in their respective divisions. On the plus side, Hamlin just stated how they've accomplished their one and only goal with 23XI Racing for this year, so that's something to look forward to. In addition to that, the driver who finished in 11th place had some encouraging things to say about Bubba Wallace and his development. In an interview after the Daytona race, Hamlin said that he wasn't too worried about Wallace not making the playoffs, because of how the field was, and of course, because the number 23 driver didn't have bad luck. He stated, "Luckily, they didn't get unlucky, and we've got 2 cars in the playoffs." After that, Hamlin was questioned about Wallace and asked what the expansion of his team meant to him as an owner. In response, the seasoned racer stated, "Look at the teams and drivers that he's beaten. I think that can't be stated enough, beating legitimate teams and drivers that make playoffs all the time. And he did it because he works hard. He worked on his craft of getting better." Hamlin continued by saying that their current mission is to provide Wallace and Reddick with fast cars, and that their mission for the next 10 weeks is to carry out their duties and give it their absolute best effort. Now, this was the one positive aspect. On the other hand, for Hamlin and his staff, things aren't as clear as he would have liked them to be given all that's going on. The future of 23XI is discussed, as well as the reasons why the renewal process is taking so long, by Hamlin. Because there hasn't been an official declaration addressing the future of 23XI Racing, there has been a great deal of conjecture regarding the organization's trajectory. Many people are curious about whether or not the Hamlin-Jordan-owned team will consider using Ford or Chevrolet as an alternative to Toyota. On the other hand, Hamlin recently put an end to such speculation. He asserted that he is fairly content with both Toyota and its partnership with JGR at this point in time. But at the same time, the co-owner of 23XI stated that one component of the puzzle is still missing. Something that is a big thing. Something that is more or less the reason why the whole process of renewing the license is taking so much time. That thing is ensuring that all parties involved have their respective views aligned with one another. Michael Jordan, an NBA legend and one of the co-owners of 23XI Racing, was one of the notable people who celebrated Wallace's triumph after it was announced. Wallace, whose name would be written into the annals of history as a result of the accomplishment of the team, was well aware of the moment's significance. The approaching playoffs bring with them both optimism and concern for Wallace, who is now ranked 16th in the standings. The reset puts him in a position where he has no bonus points, establishing a fierce level of competition. The looming possibility of elimination following the third race adds additional pressure, which is especially significant when considering Wallace's status as the defending champion at Kansas Speedway. So that's all we've got for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what you think of the video in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in the upcoming video.